Welcome into the Shelia Smoot Show. I'm Shelia Smoot. Good to have you along today. And we got a lot in store for you. First of all, I know what you're wondering. Shelia Smoot is back on the air again? Yeah, you can catch me on several of your local TV stations. So that's what you are watching right now. So hello to everybody, and wake up, wake up, wake up. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and all of that. Or if you're joining me in the evening, you know, with this whole social media thing, you could be joining me anywhere in the world. Like my mom looks at me from Michigan. Hi, Mom. I've always wanted to say that. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Tell me you don't want to say that on television or radio. So thank you, CBS 42, for allowing me to share my information on this air. And also thank you, WAGG, for allowing me to always share with that audience. And thank you to the KISS family, 98.7. And I'm also in Greenville, South Carolina. Thanks to you. Hello, Mom. I'm just kidding. Folks, before I get into our guest is going to be joining us a little bit later, let me first talk to you about payday loans and cash advances for service members. Hey, if you are in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Coast Guard, all of that, there's a thing about it. I'm not a real fan of payday loans, but if you are in the military, the law protects you and your dependents. The APR on payday loans cannot be more than 36%. Ouch. That's high, regardless. It shouldn't be for anybody. The lender must give you documents that explain the cost of the loan and your rights. Now, should I get a payday loan or a cash advance loan? Even with these protections for service members, payday loans can be very expensive. You have got to be careful about payday loans. You just got to be careful. They're expensive. I know you got to get money when you got to get money when you got to get money, but you have got to crunch the numbers. Before you get a payday loan, consider these choices. If you are a service member in the military, get financial help from your military aid societies. You have people that will definitely allow you to get help. The Army Emergency Relief Fund is out there for you veterans and all of you folks. 703-428-0000. Also, the Navy and Marine Corps Relief Society. They're out there. 703-696-4904. The Air Force Aid Society can help you with your financial woes and all the things you're going through. And their number is 800-769-8951. Also, the Coast Guard Mutual Assistance is out there for you. 800-881-2462. Be all you can be financially. Be all you can be financially. Okay? And I am extremely, really concerned with you, military folks. And all of you need to understand that. Every one of you need to understand that. It is very, very disturbing when you get in debt like that, and you got the military, you got kids here, and you got family there, and you're overseas, and you don't know when you're getting back, and you're getting deployed, and you got financial strife. That's just with anybody. That's what's with anybody. Borrow money from family or friends. Now, I don't borrow money from family or friends. Now, that's not my advice, for real, for real. I don't like borrowing money. And I don't like borrowing from family and friends, because no, you'll never, ever, ever get it back. Go back to my topic. But again, like I said, borrowing money for friends, I don't do it. If I'm going to give you money, just ask me. I'm probably going to say no. You got to really be tight with me to get money from me. I had somebody ask me for money that barely knew me. Like, I had just met them, and they were like, a millennial. Sorry, guys. You guys will ask anybody for money. Millennials need gas. They will ask you for money and not know you. They will ask you for $20, not even $5. They're like, hey, you got $20? Like, for what? Do I know you? No. But again, borrowing money from family or friends, I don't condone that. I condone, pay yourself first. Save your money up for a rainy day, because In this state, days rain and then you get tornadoes. Um, you know, so it is very, very um, interesting that people want to do that. Let me go on to the next point about payday loans and cash advances for service members, but you too can take this advice. It's not just for service members, but for some reason, military, you might need to up the pay of the military. I just think you ought to pay teachers more, police and fire more. I think you ought to pay the military people more. And I do like the benefit package. My brother has a really serious benefit package. Had I known that, I would have been in the military right after college because I wanted to be an officer anyway, and the Air Force told me I was too short. I was 4'11" and a half. The guy was like, yeah, you got to be 5 feet. I went outside and changed and took my heels off and came in and I, put on my heels. I put on heels to make myself 5 feet. And the guy started laughing, the recruiter. And then I asked, I really want some dress blues. He said, do you really think that the military is a fashion statement? All I know is I don't want to be like the Navy or looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. And, the bell bottoms. It wasn't quite my style back then. Yeah, I did. I actually did do that. I know the mind of a 21-year-old at the time, a young lady. And I just wanted to lead something. So I actually did that. So for all of you who want to understand what we're talking about, welcome into the Shelia Smoot Show. I'm Shelia Smoot. Good to have you along today. We're talking about payday loans and cash advances service members. That's what we're talking about. Ask your employer if you can get an advance on your paycheck. Now, I hadn't seen that in a long time. You can ask. And it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, if you've been banking with somebody for a long time, for instance, and you have direct deposit and it's coming in like clockwork for a decade, you might want to go to your bank. That's why I bank with small banks, because you can actually talk to somebody who can pull the trigger on certain things, and you might have a relationship with them. And they may do that because they know you can't control pulling the direct deposit back, potentially. Again, that's up to you and your bank. But you can ask. You can ask for anything. You can go sit out here in these streets that I see all these people with these little signs with these religious sayings on them. And they're asking, they got it, they want to give that, and they want me to give them $1. You can do that, but don't steal it. Don't steal it. Don't take matters into your own hands. Don't get so frustrated. Go to your church. Sit down with your pastor and ask and say, hey, I'm having a hardship. Now, there are some people who have hardships every single week. I'm not talking to you. You have a hardship every week. Hey, I got a hardship, Sheila. Really? So what's your crisis now? The same one as last week. Well, I've got to cover my mortgage and or I need money for my rent. Like, rent comes every month. So now you're going to tell me every month, don't go to your church every month. Now, if you need food, go to your church every month. You need clothing, go to your church every month. But do you have to go to your church every month for a loan or an ask? Pastor's going to start turning you away. Also, talk to a credit counselor and getting more time to pay your bills. Now, folks, sometimes you need to have a family discussion about paying your bills. I had that family discussion with my husband. He made me get a credit card. I was like, no, I don't want to be in debt. No, he said, but you need to build up and boost your credit. No, I got everything I want. I got a house. I got a car. I got the Lord. No, I don't want a credit card. No, I want to pay as I go. No, I'm not in debt. No, but I did get one, and thank God it was a low amount, because I'll charge like $25, and then it's due. I can hit the due date after the due date, right? And it keeps coming up on your phone. You haven't paid, but I'm not late. And now you got to pay an extra $35 because you didn't pay on the date, but you're not late. But you got to pay an extra $35. So I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I've gotten better over the years, as you will too. But I just didn't live like that. I didn't want that. But for plane, trains, and automobiles and trips to the beach and everything else, that you might need to have one credit card. So I have one with a limited amount. Like, I'm not going over $7.50. No, I'm kidding. $750. I'm not going over that. So I got one that has that limit because I am not doing it. Because when I was a college kid, I did a little of it. I wasn't extended in debt because I was always afraid that my credit card one time went to my permanent address, and it was my mom and dad's house. I forgot to put my college address, and my mother opened it, and it's like, girl, what are you doing? I had bought a Coach purse, 5 Coach belts. I had bought, like, things. And then the bill came, and I just put it in the drawer, like, because I couldn't pay $25 a month. I didn't have a job. I'm in college. I didn't have a real job anyway. And the little money I did have, of course I spent it elsewhere to remain unnamed. I went out to eat. I learned how to eat sushi. I learned how to eat bagels with cream cheese. I mean, I was just kicking it. And then the bill came. And my mother took that card. But she paid on time, and it made my credit go up. But she didn't give it back to me. So from that perspective, you know, it is really, really, really imperative that you learn how to control your finances. And if you are going to go to a payday loan location and cash advance location, there is help for you if you are a service member. There is help for you if you are not. You can go to a credit counselor and ask them how to do that. So at any rate, you can always, okay, my guest said he's calling now. He must have heard I was fading him fast. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay. I will take him as he calls. And when he calls, you're going to like the topic, though, and I'm not going to do it. As I wrap up this segment, where can I get more information about borrowing money? For more information about other ways to borrow money or to get help managing your finances, you military folks, call the Department of Defense at 1-800-342-9647. That's 1-800-342-9647. This line is typically staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or you can go to this website. Go to militaryonesource.com, militaryonesource.com, and definitely, you will get some help. And this is the power of radio to television and TV and cell phones. Okay? So definitely do that. And also, I want to get into avoiding identity theft very, very briefly. That's a pet peeve of mine, too. Identity theft can make it hard for you to get credit, a job, a place to live, or utilities, but you can reduce the risk of being hurt by identity theft. How can I protect my identity? Protect your personal information. It is very, very important that you do that. Protect your personal information. Now, that helps you protect your identity. Now, here's some things you can do at home. Keep your financial records, Social Security, and Medicare cards in a safe place. Shred papers that have your personal or medical information. Take mail out of your mailbox as soon as you can. People will go in your mailbox and they will take stuff. I have somebody dumpster dive. Go in your trash. Get you a shredder. Get you a shredder. All personal information. Get you a shredder. Get you a shredder. And also, make sure if you don't have a shredder, make sure you discard all of that. One of the reasons on identity theft. Let me check in with my guest today. Good morning, guest. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sheila. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to on this live radio show and television show this morning? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This is Keith Wolf-Hughes. I'm the General Director of Opera Birmingham.
Opera. You know, I saw Leontine Price. That was my first, Leontine Price was my first opera. It really was. And it was at Michigan State University student. It was just beautiful. I love the opera. And I love that you called in from Opera Birmingham. What a great organization. Been around since when?
Let's see, we started in 1955, I believe, so we've been around quite a while.
Wow, wow. But you're not that old, right?
Not yet, although I'm feeling it this morning after our show last night.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you for calling in. I'm like, he must have heard. I said, please call. But we do have you on point now. Driving While Black is the opera that's in Birmingham. Talk to me about what that is, what's that mean, who are the stars, and what can we expect?
Yes, thank you so much for letting us talk about this. It is a powerful new opera that premiered in 2018 that it basically has two parallel storylines. The first story being that of a young black mother who has just had a baby, her son, and the joy she feels as she is raising her child, and the challenges of raising a child just in general, but then also for her specifically, understanding that as he grows up and gains his freedom and learns to drive, of the challenges that he's going to face as a black man, and how how black men can be perceived in our country. And then interspersed through that story are bulletins, headlines of real stories of black men that have been profiled in various ways around whether they were driving or just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's a really powerful story that helps us address some very real challenges that our society is facing, especially in light of the news that's happening now up in Memphis. I'm so glad that we were able to do this show to have these conversations.
Well, the conversations sometimes can be a little uncomfortable. How do you put this into an opera form? How does that work? Because I never would have thought a show, let alone an opera, in the city of Birmingham in the state of Alabama, would be, Driving While Black would be an opera. I'm very excited to hear about it. And how do you portray that through song and through acting? What is the power of that?
Right. I think where the power comes with this opera in particular, but just opera in general, is it's telling a story of, in this case, this young mother, but it's telling a very human story. And I think where that has power is it lets anyone sort of get into the story and understand what this person, is facing. And because, I don't have children, but I can sympathize with what a mother is going through I've seen friends raise children, and that sort of lets us then start to understand what any mother is facing, and then amplify that with the very real issues and challenges that a black mother will face as her son grows up. And so by telling this in sort of short little vignettes of the mother teaching her child to drive, the mother singing songs with her child, just really makes it something that is very accessible, so that we can then start having the conversation, because we've all seen this happen together, and then understand more what this mother may be going through.
Opera Birmingham has, again, been around for a long time. Did you audition, or did we looking at local talent who's participating in Driving While Black, the opera?
I did. I didn't necessarily do formal auditions for this, but since I've been in Birmingham for 8 years, have gotten to know a number of really wonderful artists. So when we decided to program this piece, I approached a number of people here in Birmingham. The soprano who is singing this opera, Allison Sanders, is a great artist. She's done a couple of concerts with us, but this is sort of her first big date. Well, I shouldn't say this is her debut. She did do something with us at Avondale Park during the pandemic, but this is sort of her big tour de force debut with us.
Wow.
And then the director is a director who is based here in Birmingham, Asia Penix. She's involved with the Birmingham Black Repertory Theater, and she's currently the artist in residence with Birmingham Children's Theater. So it is mostly a Birmingham-based team bringing this story to life for us.
What do you think we will learn from this as I wrap up today? What do you think we're gonna, when we see? I love the opera. I love the arts. I've always been involved, even as a child. I thank God for my mom, who put me into ballet exposed me and the programs that were around in Flint, Michigan, where I was able to go for free because they didn't have the money. But I thank God for my mother, who wanted me to be exposed to the arts and music, and it's why I'm always happy, honestly. It's always why I'm happy. But I thank God for you, because this is a very powerful city from that perspective of all of what you talked about. What do you expect your audience to take away from this, if you had to guess about that?
It's interesting. We did the show last night, and I think beyond just the power of the show itself was the opportunity after the performance to have a talk back with the cast, with the composer and the team who created this piece. And so I think one of the things we can take away is, well, I think generally the power of the arts to bring people together and provide that experience so we can have conversations. But specifically with this piece, it was interesting to hear the composer was here and the person who sang this piece for the very first time, and she shared that she did two performances, one for a mostly white audience and one for a mostly black audience. And she said the experiences and the takeaways were completely different, because for a black audience, this isn't a story. This is something they have all lived, whether it's personally or through friends and family. They have all experienced this issue. Versus for a white audience or a mostly white audience, we're having the opportunity, the chance to sort of get inside somebody else's experience and hopefully sympathize and learn what that may be. And then through the conversations afterwards, we're not going to change the world with one performance, but hopefully we can come away from the show having a better understanding of what others in our community are going through, and then hopefully from there can start to affect change by talking with our friends to better understand their experience, to be involved when issues come up so that we can try to move the needle forward on change. And because as we've seen, as I said earlier, with the situation in Memphis, we things may be getting better, but we still have a long way to go. And by coming together to have those conversations, hopefully we are empowering the people who see this to continue that fight, that struggle to make things better for everyone.
Through music, through song, through opera. Thank you so much for joining us, Driving While Black, and keep doing this. And I look forward to seeing this show. And I know with you behind the helm and being here 8 years, you're just your passion about it and just your power about it. Thank you so much for allowing us to have that kind of energy in the room, for lack of a better word, to bring some positivity to a situation that's a little uncomfortable, always uncomfortable for a population of people, but also for those coming togetherness to understand it through music and song. Thank you so much, and thank you for calling me back. I know it was a struggle this morning.
That's all right. Thank you so much. It was our pleasure.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Avoiding identity theft. Identity theft can make it hard for you to get a job, credit, a place to live, or utilities, but you can reduce your risk of being hurt by identity theft. Now, how can I protect my identity? First, protect your personal information. That helps you protect your identity. Here are some things that you can do to do that. At home, keep your financial records, Social Security, and Medicare cards in a safe place. Shred papers that have your personal or medical information. If you don't have a shredder, you can always tear them up into teeny pieces. Also, take mail out of your mailbox as soon as you can. How can I protect my identity as you do business? Only give your Social Security number if you must. Ask if you can use another kind of identification. Do not, and I repeat, do not give your personal information to someone who calls you or who emails you. How can you protect your identity on a computer? Use passwords that are not easy to guess. Use numbers and symbols when you can. Do not respond to emails or other messages that ask for your personal information, and do not put personal information on a computer in a public place like the library. Also, how will I know if someone actually steals my identity? Read your bills and account statements. That's very, very, very important. Watch for things you did not buy, withdrawals you did not make, a change of your address that you did not expect, and bills that stop coming. Check those statements. They're very, very telling, and go to your bank if you need help or call them to help you out. But again, check your personal information. Avoiding identity theft altogether. Look at your medical statements. You might see charges you don't recognize. That might mean someone stole your identity. Get your credit report. You get one free credit report every year from each credit reporting company to order. Go to annual credit report at 1-877-322-8228. That's 1-877-322-8228. Annual credit report, not free credit report. Annual credit report. Answer questions from a recorded system. You have to give your address, social security number, and date of birth. You don't want to do that. Choose to only show the last 4 numbers of your social security, not your whole social security number. It is safer than showing the full number on your report. Choose which credit reporting company you want a report from. You get 1 report free from each company. That is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. The company mails your report to you. They can also do another thing. They can email it, and you better make a copy because it goes away. Read your credit report carefully. Look for mistakes or accounts you do not recognize. This could mean someone stole your identity. You don't recognize any of that. Dispute, dispute, dispute. This is your consumer tip of the week. Welcome into the Shelia Smoot Show. I am Shelia Smoot. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for joining us. That's going to be a powerful, powerful segment. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Shelia Smoot. Remember, don't be a sucker, be a consumer.